Project Lean is actually an initiative that started with our new governor, Governor Ducey. When the governor came in, he was really focused on creating an efficient, accountable government. So here in Tucson at the Unemployment Insurance Call Center, we started off using Lean tools as sort of a format for making processes more efficient and more accountable.
We were hampered by a system that wasn't really adequate to handle the workload. It was hard to get through to us. It was hard to talk to a person. If you filed your claim online and you didn't really have any problems, then things went fairly smoothly. But if you had problems, or certainly if you had questions, getting through to us, it was a difficult time.
I had heard stories in the past of how it used to be. You had to call in the morning. Sometimes you waited an hour or so to get through. Sometimes you didn't get through, and so you've wasted an entire day.
When we look at any process, a large chunk of it is waste. And what the governor has brought in with this new concept of Lean is, let's go through every process and strip out all the waste. So we implemented several steps and techniques here in the Unemployment Insurance Call Center. We did a lot of process mapping so we could determine what actually happened in the process and what were all the touch points to the customer. We wanted to ensure every touch point to the customer was done with a high level of customer service and as efficiently as possible. We used a lot of scorecarding and metricing so that we could determine, we could actually measure, because you can't manage what you're not measuring. So the Project Lean for the Unemployment Insurance Call Center were pretty significant. At the start of the project, we found that the Unemployment Insurance Call Center was only answering 47% of the calls coming in, and the average wait time for the 47% they were able to answer was about 100 minutes. At the end of the project, after implementing all the new pieces, our average answer time was less than 10 seconds, and we answered 100% of phone calls.
Broad guideline for a call center is, answering like 80% of the calls or 90% of the calls in 30 seconds. And I was hopeful that we could get down to close to that. So when we got down to 6 seconds, it was just astounding.
I anticipated a long wait time, being tossed from pillar to post, and then when they answered right away, and I was like, oh my goodness, you're there. You answered me. It's not a recording. Everybody was so pleasant. They went the extra mile for me. They made me feel like a human again. They answered all my questions. My personal experience, since this is my first time, was the most wonderful experience in the world.
I think the transformation that you're seeing right now, starting with the Unemployment Insurance Call Center, the tip of the iceberg.
Go Team Awesome!
The impacts and the results that Lean is going to have on government are far-reaching, and they're going to be so great and so broad that I think 4 years from now, what government's going to look like is going to be entirely different than what we see it as today.